Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor to present to you Mr. Aaron Yorke. Aaron, thank you so much for joining the Respect and Praise show. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Oh, I just got shocked by this news that the Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau. So that was a little
Say
surprising.
what? Say what?
Yeah, it just happened. Just came down the wire. Just came
What?
down the wire. They make the Eastern Conference final. They beat the Boston Celtics. It's not good enough. They lost the Pacers for the second year in a row. And now Thibodeau's gone. So I'm hoping for they hire Mike Malone. I don't think it's fair that they fired Thibodeau. I don't think it's right, but life's not fair. And they obviously think they can do better. They think they should have been in the finals. And most Knicks fans think we should have beaten the Pacers. So that's we're going to try to make a coaching hire. It's going to take us to the next step. So I think Mike Malone's going to be the guy. So we'll see what happens.
Wow. That is wow. I mean, I just woke up from a nap not too long ago, so I didn't get to check my phone or anything like that. But in a way, I'm not surprised because look at the firing that we've seen this year so far with Mike Malone himself, the Grizzlies coach. This is why it's gonna make things even more harder to find guys like Eric Spoelstra and Greg Popovich in terms of coaches, coaching long term for one team. Is gonna be hard to find that nowadays. Now we're seeing coaches getting fired weeks before the playoffs. It, but anyways, Aaron, I want to start off with you and your journey. When did you knew that you wanted to take sports serious to a point that you want to make this a career?
I always loved sports from when I was 6 years old. And yeah, it's just been a passion of mine for a while. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do for the longest time, but I got a corporate job out of college, and I soon found out the corporate world wasn't exactly where I wanted to be. And when I got laid off in, I think it was, no, I know it was January 2012. It was right before the Giants won the Super Bowl. When I got laid off in January 2012, I decided to make a career switch, and I was fortunate enough to be able to get in the door at Sirius XM and at Major League Baseball Productions. And yeah, I've just been grinding away ever since.
What was that corporate job that you're working at, if you don't mind me asking?
It was for uh it was for a big bank. I was working in an office, just doing accounting stuff. And yeah, it was pretty apparent to me early on it's not what I wanted to be doing for the rest of my life. So they made it easier for me to make a switch when I got laid off because I had a couple months of severance. So I was able to just get home, and I was able to make a plan and get going on it.
Sirius XM, you've been there for many years. So, what does Sirius XM mean to you? Was the culture like there? What were some of your top moments or gratifying moments working there?
Sirius XM is a really fun place to work, and it's a pretty close-knit group in the sports department. It's not a huge staff. Especially back when I was working more in studio before the pandemic, the camaraderie was a lot better. But I bounced around to a lot of different stations as part of Sirius XM, and all of them have their nice little cultures, and they all have good people, and it's a really fun place to work. And I think some of my best moments were stepping up when breaking news happened at times when not a lot of people were available to cover it, such as Andrew Luck retiring. I think that happened on a Saturday night, maybe. I know what there were a couple other ones. The LeBron James signed with the Lakers was like in the middle of the weekend around July 4th. So I was able to produce a show based on that, where they needed someone to produce a show just at a moment's notice, and I happened to be around. So, yeah, I'd say the LeBron James signing with the Lakers, that was a long time ago now. And then Andrew Luck retiring was a huge one. Those were moments where I was able to step in and really help out the department, cover breaking news when it was breaking news that no one was ready for. Although the Lakers one, at least it happened when a lot of free agents were signing, but the Luck one was something that blindsided everyone. No one was expecting him to retire, and it just came out of nowhere. So that was a moment I was proud of.
The Andrew Luck was definitely a shock. I remember so many people, even Colts fans, they were booing him. Um, Mainstream media were piling up on him. Andrew Luck, I mean, he had his own reasons why he wanted to retire. People got to remember that he was suffering a lot of injuries, and the offensive line wasn't as strong during many of his seasons there. So then, the minute that the Colts started to get better to getting the protection around him, he decided to retire. But when stuff like that happens, people are gonna have their opinions. They're gonna chime in and say what they feel, but only the player and the man above knows exactly what happened behind the scenes. Us fans as well, we only know to a certain extent. We don't know all the details behind it. I think he did get to explain himself in a podcast episode why he decided to retire. But I remember when that news came out, I remember like they were making comparisons to Barry Sanders in the sense that they just retire out of nowhere prematurely and things like that. But that's football is one of those sports where careers they don't last long because it's one of those aggressive sports that injuries happen here and there. But I would say that okay, so this is my next question to you. How would you describe yourself in 3 words?
3 words. I think passionate, consistent, and what else can I say about myself? I just love myself so much. I mean, hardworking, I guess, but I just I think well-rounded is another good one. I like a lot of different sports, which that might have held me back in some regard because so many people have had success just focusing on one thing, but I feel like I have a little bit of a short attention span because I'm just so excited about all different sports going on. Like I'm trying to keep track of the tennis right now, and you have college baseball going on, and there are other people who are just locked in on the NBA playoffs, and that's been big too because my Knicks, they got deeper than they have in about 25 years. So even when it's not football season, I've got a lot of stuff going on, and yeah, just trying to be consistent, trying to show up every day and get work done for Sirius XM and put my hosts in a position where they can be successful. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough talking about myself, but I think that's what separates me from a lot of the other producers is just how well-rounded I am with my sports knowledge. Because even some of the hosts we have, maybe they'll just be NFL and NBA guys, and they won't have as good of a handle on the hockey or on the tennis. And that's where I can really help out the hosts on our channel with just having a broad view of the sports landscape. And I just love following sports. I have for since I was a little kid. So it's it's easy to work hard when you're passionate about the subject matter. So that's why I've been with this for so long now.
You and I were similar because I have been following tennis with Roland Garros going on. College baseball postseason is here. For example, we see Tennessee, they beat Wake Forest and they're going to those super regionals for the fifth consecutive year, Miami Hurricanes as well. The list goes on and on. So I'm keeping track of that as well as soccer, NASCAR, because we know that a lot of people, a lot of sports writers and even working front or behind the scene. They mostly focus on MLB, NFL, NBA, the top primary sports. But I like being versatile. And as I got older, I took chances on golf, tennis, soccer, the list goes on and on. And just like you, I love sports. I love the history of it. I love learning everything about it. So there were things that I never even imagined that I would like before that I ended up loving now. But when you're versatile, that opens you much more opportunities for you. So kudos to you on that. In your opinion, what are some of the key traits that a producer must have to work in sports?
Producer has to be patient because there's so many technical things that can pop up, especially when you're dealing with a remote broadcast, which at Sirius, a lot of the hosts are remote because they have hosts from all over the country. Not everyone's based out of New York or Washington, where the studios are. So you have to be patient with technology. You you have to be very well prepared because even though a show might go 3 or 4 hours, you have to be there's the work that goes in before that is a lot, is maybe sometimes more than the actual show. I think I do most of my work before the show starts, and then once it goes on air, you're you're cruising along at that point because if you prepared well for the show, you got everything set up and you're just trying to react to something that might not go according to plan, like breaking news. Like if you're doing a show right now, you might have a whole show set up for like Mad Dog, his show just started at 3, so he might have had everything set up, and then a few minutes before the show, the Thibodeau news drops, and now he's got to reorganize everything because that's probably gonna be the lead story. So, so yeah, being able to adapt, you have to be adaptable because of breaking news, and you never know what's gonna happen. So, so yeah, uh, yeah, being prepared, being patient with technology, being able to adapt, those are three really important things to being a producer.
Great advice. So usually I do this in the middle of the show, but I'm gonna end this episode with this right here. We're gonna play a little game, something short and sweet and simple. So are you ready, Aaron?
Yeah.
The first one, favorite breakfast meal.
Oh, egg and cheese sandwich on a toasted bagel.
Top three travel destinations that's on your bucket list.
Actually, we're talking about Roland Garros. How about Paris? Yeah, I haven't been to Paris. I've only been to London. I haven't been to Paris. And oh, Tokyo definitely because I love video games so much. So Uh, and yeah, I think I do well in Tokyo because they love video games, they love wrestling, they love baseball. So I think I would fit pretty well in Japan, and Tokyo's supposed to be wild. So that leaves one destination left. I'm trying to think. I think I got most of the United States covered as far as places I've been. So I want to say Australia. That's another tennis destination. That's another big major. Where else would I want to go besides anywhere else in Europe? I mean, Europe's so big. I'll say Australia somewhere. To the Sydney Opera House, maybe.
Okay, those are good options, especially Paris. I haven't been to Paris either. Hopefully someday I get to go over there. But in the meantime, I am studying French, so hopefully by the time I go over
Yeah.
there, I could, speak the language very effectively. Uh, respect or loyalty?
Oh man, you have to choose between. I'm a big loyalty guy. I guess I go with loyalty because I mean, even if you don't respect someone, if you're loyal to them, I think that shows a lot of respect. So, I mean, respect doesn't mean much without loyalty, I don't think. So I'll go with loyalty.
Hmm. This one will probably be easy for you, but I'll shoot it anyways. Which duo would you love to produce a show? It could be one show for one day that you would love to see a duo to reunite. This probably might be easy for you, but I'll ask anyway. Mike and the Mad Dog, or Stephen A. and Skip Bayless.
Oh yeah, that's Mike and the Mad Dog. I mean, I'm from
Yeah.
New York. I literally grew up listening to that show. Never been a huge Stephen A. Skip Bayless. I mean, I just never got into them. I remember when they were on Cold Pizza, and then eventually their whole first take thing just took over the whole show. And I just didn't like when the sports media landscape went in that direction. And it was Stephen A. and Skip Bayless leading the way on that, and the ratings they produced and the arguments they produced. And there's a lot of fun sports arguments to have. Certainly, arguing and debating is a big part of being a sports fan, but just not just the hot takes, but their I don't really like their long segments focused on the same topics, the same teams, always the Cowboys, always the Lakers. I prefer more of the part of the interruption format where they're touching on everything and they keep it to just a minute or two at a time so they don't get stuck going back and forth on should the Cowboys fire Mike McCarthy, right? Or or is LeBron gonna win another ring? Is LeBron the GOAT? And they get stuck on that for 30 minutes. That's not my style of sports talk. I'd much rather go fast paced like PTI or and Mike and the Mad Dog are so good because they had the opposite personalities and they complemented each other so well. So yeah, that was an easy question for me. You were right about that. You had me pegged pretty well there.
All right, Aaron, last but not least, name me from the top of your head. It doesn't have to be in order. Five sports figures, whether they're dead or alive, that you would love to sit down and have a conversation with about anything.
Oh, yeah, that is tough. And David Wright probably just he was my favorite Mets player, and we'll try to spread it out. But yeah, we go. You have to go David Wright, and I don't know how many of these guys I'd be able to have a great conversation with. But who'd it be for the Giants? The Giants would probably be Mike Strahan. He was just my guy growing up. I just love watching him just sack Donovan McNabb. It's one of my favorite things. And oh, Tiki Barber I like too. And of course, both those guys are in the media, so I feel like I know what we could talk about since they talk about stuff for a living. So yeah, I've been impressed with Tiki becoming a radio host. I didn't think I'd like him as much as I did, but he's not bad. So we'll go Tiki Barber along with Mike Strahan and David Wright. And wonder if guys not on teams that I'm not rooting for. I don't know. I'll try to get a basketball. I'm not gonna be able to. I don't know if I'm gonna have a hockey guy in there. I just don't know much. The '94 Rangers are a team like I idolize, but I don't know. I barely know anything about those guys. I might have to sit. I might want to talk to Mark Messier about the Game 6 from the '94 Eastern Conference Finals against the Devils. So I might put Messier in there, and then oh, there's so many other Mets guys too. I mean, Gooden, Strawberry, but those guys I didn't grow up watching. Those guys were on different teams when I really broke into being a Mets fan. I mean, Mike Piazza was just huge. I loved John Olerud. I loved Edgardo Alfonso. I'm naming way more than five, but um, maybe Clyde for basketball or someone from the
That's
Queen.
a good one. Yeah, that's a good option. You
Yeah,
know. Um, but yeah,
ask him where he gets
Walt
his.
Frazier, that's a good
Yeah, ask
one.
him where he gets those cow print suits, those crazy suits. Oh, that'd be great. I mean, yeah, and Charles Barkley, Jeff. I mean, everyone loves Charles Barkley. He's amazing. I mean, he's definitely has a lot on his mind with this move happening to ESPN, and you can tell those guys are a little concerned what it's going to be like having the ESPN oversight because they've just been so free to speak their minds over on TNT. And even though the production's going to be the same, they're going to be on ESPN now, and we know Pat McAfee's had his issue with them, even though he produces his own show. So, oh yeah, I'd love to talk to Chuck about stuff like that. He'd be great.
Well, Aaron, this was a fun conversation. Love enjoying and hearing about your story, your journey, and working as a sports producer. Thank you so much for joining the Respect and Praise show. We should definitely stay connected, stay networking. I feel like you and I, we have a lot of similarities in the sense that we're very versatile when it comes to sports. So I'm always looking for people to collaborate with on my YouTube channels and other different avenues. So I'll be more than happy to have you on board if that's something that you're open to. But we should definitely stay connected because us who we love this, we love sports, especially us from New York. That's even much more connection there. But I definitely like the fact that guys like you and I, we love NBA, we love baseball, we love football, but we also look at the other side like tennis, college baseball, which is very rare to find people to talk college baseball because it's not as popular compared to college football and basketball. But definitely we should stay connected. And this was a terrific conversation. So thank you so much, Aaron. Much respect and praise to everything that you're doing.
Yes, likewise, Miguel. Thanks so much. This was a lot of fun.